All right, guys, remember how crazy prices were during all the COVID nonsense? Well, guess what? It's worse now. We're going to talk about that. We're going to make some predictions. This is Bid Nerds. Bidding starts now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube card game show. Yes, it is. Welcome, everyone. Whoa, listen to that. I don't know if you guys are getting the feedback that I'm getting, but I'm turning it off. Okay, I had the button on there. Hey, everybody, welcome to Bid Nerds. My name is JP. We're coming to you live from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas. My partner's right next to me in San Francisco. What's up, Michael Deeb?
What's happening, JP? I'm going to try to be undistracted, but apparently they're closing some sort of football game, and my text chain is going bananas. I guess it must be going down to the wire. Congratulations, your Seattle team will live to fight another day and probably win the Super Bowl this year. That is my prediction. They curb stomp my lowly 49ers, but who cares about football, JP? We have so many dope cars to cover tonight. This is going to be a fun show. I got to do a test drive today out of the new warehouse space on my 996 Turbo that is live. It's like the world is coming together in, what is it, congruence? I don't know. Anyway, it's all lined up. It's all happening. I am so grateful and so happy to be here. I can't wait for you to come out here and hang out in the space with me and help me set up this studio so we can have guests in the Deeb in the West, you know? So anyways, all that and a bunch of other bullshit. JP, how are you?
Yeah, we're getting after it, man. I don't know, man. I've been watching prices all week, of course, since the last episode. We've had some big guests on lately. We had the Everyday Driver host here.
Great.
They were fantastic. Yeah,
they were great. Yeah,
definitely go watch our last episode because those guys were fantastic. We'll be talking about their bids. They kind of wiped the floor with us.
Paul and Todd were awesome, man. Yeah, thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Lucas, for making that happen. They were great. And JP, you knew who those guys were. They were kind of new to me, but I'm out of it. I'm like adjacent. So I was really impressed with how they were with us on the show. That might have been some of the best stuff we've done.
It was really good. We had Ed Bullion on the episode before that, so it's just been hitter after hitter. You're stuck with just us tonight. If you're not watching the football game, thanks for hanging out. All right, look, the big topic tonight, just real quick before we kind of get into predictions and going over what we made predictions on in the last episode, like we always start out with. What's going on? It's like we always talk about. I'm kind of sick of hearing automotive analysts talking about COVID, right? Everyone seems to be talking about it like it was just yesterday. It was years ago already at this point. It's like, stop talking about it. The only reason why we're bringing it up tonight is because the COVID nonsense, the ridiculous way that, our government responded to the big nothing burger of COVID was they just printed gajillions and gajillions and gajillions of dollars, and it drove prices up and it created all the inflation that we're still dealing with right now. And I think prices right now are worse than they were during COVID. So anytime someone references a car, oh, they sold it back in 23, back when prices were crazy. Well, guess what? It's worse now. Prices are even more crazy and money is worth way, way less. That's the big difference. I think buckle up, buttercups. If you had a collector or classic sports car that you wanted to put in your garage, I think the prices are just like either get it now or wait till the price is twice as much a year from now. It's just gonna get nuts. Gold is what, like almost $5,000 an ounce? What the hell is going on? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments, and let's look at some of these results. I think it's gonna back up what I'm saying. What was the first car that we talked about on the last episode, Deep?
All right, JP, we are going to circle right back to a premium listing on Bring a Trailer for a car you and I both love. But I mean, JP, when was the last time you saw a Lamborghini Jalpa in person? Feast your eyes on this completely canary yellow 1988 Lamborghini Jalpa with just 5,900 kilometers from new. Ladies and gentlemen, don't rack your brain. That's like under 4,000 miles from the word go. Our car was listed by Michael Motorcar, who brags about being the low mileage king, JP. That's his shtick when he does his little videos. He's constantly branding himself as Michael Motorcar, the low mileage king, which I think is pretty funny and pretty clever, even if I laugh at him while I'm enjoying his commentary. The big news about this car, JP, not only the super low odometer, but the incredibly low build numbers. I knew that the Lamborghini Jalpa was rare, but it turns out we learned something during this listing and found out that between 1981 and 1988, Lamborghini was only able to sell 410, not per year, total for 7 years or 8 years of production. This particular car has had the carburetors switched off in favor of a fuel injection system, which I imagine would probably make it a little bit easier to start up, to drive when cold, and to live with at altitude. All in all, I imagine the fuel injection might not sound as good, but it might make this supercar a little bit easier to bear. A premium listing on Bring a Trailer. The car looked beautiful in studio, especially if you like yellow. Yellow can be a polarizing color, but on 80s supercars, JP, I don't think it's going to hold it back. With that being said, our friends at Classic.com do have a column for the Lamborghini Jalpa. They remind us that you can expect to pay about $90,000 on average for one in the secondary market. JP, the eye-catching color and the low odometer and the professional presentation had me thinking that this car would do better than average, even in the dead of winter. I thought that this car would bring $100,000, and I really thought I was stepping up my bid. Turns out I was the low man when you jumped me by 20 grand at $120,000. Paul from Everyday Driver came in at $135,000, and Todd, out of the goodness of his heart, parked his bid underneath me at 95 grand. JP, you and Paul were on the right trail. Our car eventually hammering for a respectable $148,000 where it sold on 35 bids. JP, that is either the high watermark for the car over the last couple of years or right alongside the high watermark for that car at the last couple of years. Now, I don't think any other car that comes to market is going to have as low an odometer or as bright a paint job, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of more Lamborghinis come up for market February, March, April, over the next 3 months. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another 4, 5, or 6 Lamborghini Jalpas where we only see 3 or 4 a year. That's the kind of thing that will have somebody in the garage go, you know what? I'm going to flat back that over my mechanic and get a service done on it and send it to BAT. They're bringing 150 now. This is a result that will inspire movement, and that'll be kind of fun to see a few of these come to market. JP, aside from inflation, what else do you bear?
What do you mean aside from that? That's it. That's what's doing this. Is they're pumping so much money into the system right now to keep things afloat. We're just going to look. I think this is a spectacular car. Like I said on the last episode, I do really love these. Never driven one. I can't imagine this thing is going to be any more reliable than a Countach, and that's certainly not known to be a reliable car. But look, I think despite the high number, I think this car still has a lot of upside, but only so much. I think this thing has a glass ceiling because unlike the Countach, unlike the Miura, unlike the Murcielago, all the other, and the Diablos, all the well-known iconic Lamborghinis with manual transmissions and 12 cylinders, this one, it never had a moment, right? And it was never in... One of these wasn't in the Italian Job. Batman didn't drive one of these. They weren't in music videos. They weren't in every single 80s video, right? Go ahead.
Sylvester Stallone drove one in Rocky. I think it was either Rocky 2 or Rocky 3.
Okay.
The opening scene of Rocky 2 or Rocky 3 was him driving.
I think it was 3,
Lamborghini Jalpa.
Yeah,
I don't remember, but it was a red one, and he drives it through a tunnel at night. It's pretty cool.
So maybe it was in a movie, but compare that to all the other movies that all the other Lamborghinis have been on. I just don't think anybody, this car just isn't on anyone's radar, but it's certainly gotten there. I think it's great. But what do you guys think? What do you think of this, of the number there? Do you think that's inflation? Do you think that they're just all of a sudden people are realizing this is a great car? Let us know in the comments. I mean, we're seeing Murcielagos go for $1 million. Why wouldn't that raise the tide for all the other Lambos? Let us know in the comments. And what's the next car on the list, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP, our good friend Yuri and you both selected this 1975 Ferrari Dino 308 GT4. to review out of Wichita, Kansas, and adorning the Bring a Trailer platform. Our car is showing 51,000 miles from new. However, this car has been heavily hot rodded. The motor has been rebuilt and overboard at 2.9 liters, the 4-cam V8. The car also has aftermarket 16-inch wheels, an Anza exhaust system, and a few other things around the inside, the interior. It's got a little bit different Momo steering wheel. It looks like the car has been, the front seats have been re-leathered, but they are now covered by sheepskin covers, which make no sense to me at all. But a lot of money has been spent on this car. It looks also like it's been repainted. The cool thing about a 75, certainly in California, which I represent, is that this car would be smog exempt. It's the only 308 that is smog exempt. All of the Pininfarina GTBs and GTSs that came in were 76 or later. But the Dino 308, the first one arrived in 75, and that's what we have here. So this car is probably making closer to 300 horsepower, JP. There are certainly updates with like shocks and suspension bushings and tie rods and stuff that will improve the handling of an already really good handling car. This is definitely a car that can keep up with an old early 911 turbo on a back road, and they just sound absolutely glorious. And let's face it, with all the Kirby cars from the 70s, the Bertone wedgy, edgy design really stands out and somehow has aged pretty well. I've always loved these cars, JP, and it's always fun to review one. Our friends at Classic.com remind us that it takes about $69,000 to pick up a Dino GT4 in the secondary market. I figured this car would be lucky to get to that platform. Thus, my bid came in right around there at $68,308. You went over me, JP, by over 20 grand. You're come in at $89,308. Paul from Everyday Drivers was between the two of us at $77,308. And Todd, the other member of Everyday Drivers, he came in just below Paul at $74,308. JP, our car only got 12 bids, which was interesting. I think these cars are kind of having a bit of a moment, and so I was surprised there wasn't more action on one with some fun things done to it, even though I didn't think people would pay a premium for that stuff. Thus, the 12 bids really did reveal a lack of overall interest in the car. Our car hammering for only $60,000. JP, kudos to the seller. He accepted that number. Our car sold for 60 grand. And while JP, I still think that you need the car to be stocked to get the most money out of it. I also believe that this car with all the mods at 60 grand winds up being a tremendous value for the smart shopper. So I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. One's an opinion on how to extract the most amount of money. The other one is there's no denying that this guy scored by grabbing this car for 60 grand. What are your thoughts?
Man, I wish I were watching this auction is what my thoughts were. Cause I mean, this is the card. This was the buy of the week, I think, on last week. Those wheels, yeah, polarizing for some people. I love them, but I'm with you, Deeb. Buy the damn car and drive it the way it looks. Get rid of those stupid seat covers. The interior would have popped if it didn't have those terrible sheepskins on it. So drive it for a while, source yourself some stock wheels on there. And when you decide to sell it, put the stock wheels on, and you'd probably get $80,000 for this darn car. I think it does suffer from the same problem as the Jalpa. This car is just not a car that ever had a cultural moment. Everyone's arguing with me in the nerd herd saying, "Oh, the movies don't sell the cars." Well, I'm not saying that that just the car needs to be in a movie. I'm saying that they have to be iconic. A Countach is iconic. A Murcielago is iconic. A Miura is iconic. A Testarossa and a bunch of other Ferraris are iconic, right? What is it? The Mondial or however the hell you want to pronounce it. Those were in tons of movies, but they never reached iconic status. So unfortunately, this Dino is like that, and I think that represents a great value. If you ever had the chance to drive one of these, they are so much freaking fun. And again, I'm just bummed I missed a chance to get this one because that's less than the one that we sold a year ago. And that one had way more miles, didn't have a fresh rebuild, and was a repaint. Like, and it wasn't even a great repaint. I mean, that car was not perfect. It was cool, but this is just amazing that this car got away. Kudos to the seller for letting it go. All right, let's move on. What is the next car on the list, Michael Deeb?
Our good friend Chris Carbine down in New Orleans, Louisiana, pointed out to us this 1978 Porsche 911 SC Targa that has been owned by the same guy for the last 35 years. Down in Woodstock, Georgia, and showing 121,000 miles on the odometer. I thought the car looked cosmetically a little rough, but most of the cars from this era kind of do if somebody hasn't spent the money to sort of go through them and keep them up. A closer inspection, inspired by either Todd or Paul, saying, I disagree with you, Deeb. I think you could go down to Woodstock, Georgia, and drive this car home to Park City, Utah, or home to Las Vegas, Nevada, or home to San Francisco, California. This car underneath winds up looking rather clean, and there's a fresh set of Fuchs wheels included in the sale. The big story to me, JP, was that this car is a very rare shade of sienna red, what do they call it? Sienna metallic paint, and rare shades tend to carry values. That being said, JP, when we were looking at the car, it wasn't at a very high bid number. Thus, we really did wonder where this one would land. Classic.com tells us that SC Targas are typically worth $55,000 in the secondary market. JP, I thought our car would be lucky to get to $45,911. You were a bit bearish on this one. You took the under at $39,911. Paul, just above you at $41,320. And Todd, the highest bidder of us all, he came in at a whopping $47,000. JP, I turned out to be the closest. I missed the Yahtzee by less than $1,000. Our car ultimately hammered for just $45,000, but it sold on that number. The thing that's interesting, JP, is this car only got 11 bids. An SC Targa in a rare shade, in decent condition, fair condition, maybe even good condition, I don't know, with just 121,000 miles, only got 11 bids. We talked about that Dino being a pretty good bid, pretty good deal. I think this is a pretty fair deal for what you got. I don't think you have to spend a lot of money to make this car look particularly nice. What do you think, JP? Would you rather have this for 45 or the Dino for 60? I know the Dino's got more performance and is rarer, but this is, I'd say, a pretty good value at $45,000.
The issue with this isn't the car. We talked about this on the last episode. The issue is that Georgia doesn't issue titles. This car has no title. You will get this car and you'll get a bill of sale. You'll get a certified bill of sale. So unless you're in Georgia, you've got a problem, because when you take this car back to LA or Nevada or New York or whatever state that you want to clean it up and try to make it better, all the things that you think are going to make this car worth it, you're going to be dealing with title issues for God knows how long. Who wants to deal with that unless you're going to make a road trip out of this where you fly out to go pick up the car and plan on staying in Georgia for a week or two while you sort out the title issues? That's just ridiculous. So I think it's going to be interesting to pay attention to classic cars that pop up from Georgia. I think that's something that if you are potentially considering buying a car from Bring a Trailer or any of the auction platforms, always we always notice when something's from Canada, because then you're dealing with tariffs and all kinds of other problems. But now we got to watch out for Georgian cars. What the hell is that? Are there other states that don't have titles for their cars? I mean, this is a serious problem. So I think if you're a seller, you can get a title for a car of this era in Georgia. But if you're the seller, what the F are you doing listing the car without going through that process first? Go get the goddamn title issued by the state so that when you put it on the auction platform, you can say, hey, here's the crappy pictures of my dirty car, and also I have a title so you can buy the damn thing. So yeah, God help the person who actually bought it. And how long do we think it'll actually take to get it in his name? I don't know. Does anybody put a car in their name anymore? No one did during the COVID era. All right, let's move on. What do you the guys think of that Targa? Go ahead, Deeb. You were going to say before we...
When was the last time you even registered a car in the state you live in?
Yeah, right. It's been a minute. All right, guys.
Hello.
What's that?
Hello, Kettle. It's me, JP. You're black.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys register your cars? Is that a thing? Look, you put insurance on it. That's all anybody cares about. Make sure you get insurance on your car when you buy a car. The second you buy it, call your insurance company. Make sure it's insured, and then you can deal with the state assholes on your own time. All right, next car on the list. Let's move on. We got to go.
All right, JP, let's take another look at this alumni listing on Bring a Trailer. Our good friend Matt Crandall out of 911R Avant-Garde in Scottsdale, Arizona, brought to market this pretty diabolical 1972 Porsche 914 that has a 2.4 liter built motor and GT flares. JP, this car's got style, it's got performance, it's got value, it's unique. I love just about everything about this car. The only reason I wouldn't have bid on it is because it's black. I'm a black car averse. You can have all the black cars, and I'll take all the other ones. But this is just a real serious performance car, and winds up being like a ton of value for the money. No matter where this thing is going to land at or sell at, it winds up being a value. JP, if you were to start down the road of building this car from scratch, you'd easily be in for like $200,000 or pretty close to it. This car was an alumni listing. I don't care what it sold for before. Here it comes with 911R. And the driving video is just epic. If you have a minute, go ahead and take a look and turn the speakers up. This car sounds awesome. JP, Classic.com has a column for modified 914s, but it's not very high. It's only $49,000. I thought this car would at least hammer for $119,140. And it wouldn't have surprised me if it went over my number. JP, you in fact took the over and went to $130,914. Paul from Everyday Driver came in above you at $135,000. And Todd, much more bearish on this one, coming in well below me at just $104,000 for his bid. JP, our car did not do well. It hammered for $92,460, where it failed to sell on 16 bids. Now, we have great photography and a decent listing for a very special car, and it didn't even break $100,000, and all of us on the panel thought that it would. It's not that I'm asking you, do you think it's worth 120 or it's worth 150? Why do you think it didn't get into a range that was even close? Like, I don't think you would think that this guy should have taken the 92,000. So where does, when you have one of the best listers and a really cool car and it doesn't come close, where do you think the failure or the miss or the whiff might have happened? Is it because it's the playoffs? Is it because of the news cycle? How come a really cool car, and a Porsche at that, didn't bring six figures or even come close?
Because it's a 914. If it were 914.6 originally, if this were, those are collectible because they're rare, but built 914s, no matter how much fun they are to drive, no matter how cool they are still 914s. Look, we've seen this a lot when it comes to like 912s that are built. Right, a 912 looks identical to a 911, right? And they'll do a really cool powertrain in it and make it all the cool 911 bits, but they still wind up bringing 20 to 30, even 40% less than their 911 counterpart, even when they've been upgraded with better components, including the engine. This particular car, great engine and everything like that, but it's a 914. It's always going to be a 914, and I do think those silly decals really hurt this car. The stripe, the side, the number and the Porsche thing on the side, that's livable, but that plaid and yellow stripe on the hood is just offensive. Honestly, I'm taking, if I've got $100,000 sitting around, I'm buying that Dino all day long before I even consider bidding on this 914. I think a built 914 is worth $50,000, and that's it. Even if the engine, you pull the engine out, the engine on this thing's probably worth $90,000. But it just doesn't matter. It's in a 914. Shout out to our good friend Matt Weitzel, who we love and adore. 914 Rubber CEO. But it's just, my first Porsche was a 914. I do have love for 914s, but they are what they are. They are a cheap, inexpensive way to get into the air-cooled Porsche world. And if you try to make it into a Singer type of thing, this is not going to work. People have tried, they've failed many times. This is just another example. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Will a 914 ever get the respect it deserves? Does it deserve more respect? Let us know. And what's the next car, Deeb?
Matt Weitzel, Views and comments explicitly expressed on this podcast do not represent both of those. I think 914s are cool. Yeah, I'm just
I said they're
teasing
cool,
you,
but they're
JP.
not worth anything. That's all.
I know. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and it's so true. We go through the same thing when we talk about transaxle cars. That like the 944 is a cool car, but it's not a $60,000 to $100,000 experience. So they'll never bring that kind of money. And it's just so hard because there's so much great engineering and there's such wonderful cars. But yeah, if everything's plastic inside, and 914, it's not that it's plastic; it's just Spartan. I mean, it feels like you're in a Volkswagen. Because you are.
You are.
But anyway,
I mean, a lot of the components really are Volkswagen components. Well, Dave Kealoha, the Flying Hawaiian, he's well known as a 911 builder, and he gets he gets $300,000, $400,000 for his 911 builds every single time. He wanted to make a 914, and he changed his mind at the last minute because he's like, they just cap out. Doesn't matter. But it's the same amount of work to make it look. It's like, forget it. It's not going to happen. All right, we got to move off 914s. Enough. What's the next car on the list before we get to predictions?
Oh yeah, let's dive into Dodges. JP, we have a 1991 Dodge Stealth RT Turbo 5 that apparently you and I were supposed to buy for our bid turn Lucas because he is pining for one of these. Our car is located in Platteville, Louisiana, and showing a whopping 113,000 miles on the odometer. This car has been owned by the same family for 23 years. Who cares?
Yeah, let's move
apparently,
on.
Dodges.
What happened with this thing?
Yeah, they're supposed to bring 20 grand. I thought it would bring 11. You thought 5. 4,700 from Paul, 7,500 from Todd. Our car wound up selling for $10,250. Congratulations. Let's take a break.
That should have been a $4,000 marketplace deal, and this is just because everything's expensive now. So, all right, who cares about the stupid Dodge? Let us know what you guys think if you want to, and we will be right back. Stick around with predictions.
Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair.
All right, guys, we are back. It's time to crack open a can of Hippie Sips. This stuff will definitely help your ability to make predictions. It's scientific. It must be true. There's studies. I don't know if there's studies, but this Hippie Sip stuff, it's THC infused beverages. It's all organic flavors. The stuff tastes great. It is a THC beverage, so it's definitely a social drink. Make sure you're not driving an automobile. And if you're hanging out in the nerd herd, guys, come on, do us a solid. I know you've got your phone sitting there while you're listening to the nerds, or you've got a laptop, or you've got something else on. You're watching the game. We know that this is not the only screen that's within reach from wherever you're at. Go to hippiesips.com and just go to the website. That's all you got to do. You don't have to necessarily buy a case of Hippie Sips unless you want to, but go visit the website so that they know that the nerd herd is out there supporting the people who support us, and that means support you. So please do us the solid. All you got to do, go to the website, show them some traffic, spread the word. If you want to tell people about the Hippie Sips, that would be great too. And look, it really is tasty. I wish I could crack this open while we were doing the show because that sounds really good right now. I need to chill the F out. All right. Inflation is insane. I know it's a broken record, or I'm a broken record. I say that all the time, but gosh darn if it ain't true. We're probably 30% in the last 4 or 5 years. It is bonkers how horrible inflation is, and your buying power is the money in your wallet is worthless. And that means if you want to buy that classic car that you've always wanted, it's going to cost you way, way more. And I think people are basically trying to find ways to put cash into something that isn't cash, because at least if you have a Lamborghini in your garage, it's not going to be worth half of what it was, 20 days later or whatever it is. What's the first car on the list? Is it a Lamborghini? I think I might have teased the lead.
All right, JP. There happens to be a Lamborghini on Bring a Trailer right now that is the stuff of dreams, especially if you're a Seattle Seahawks fan, JP. I actually picked this car for your occasional fandom. Feast your eyes on this 1969 Lamborghini Miura P400S as a premium listing on Bring a Trailer. JP, our car is listed by the very fine folks with excellent taste down at Silver Arrows Cars Limited out of Newport Beach, California. Chassis number 3919 is now showing 37,000 kilometers, which is 23,000 miles. This is, in some circles, considered the most beautiful car ever made. Powered by a transverse mid-engine 3.9 liter V12. This car winds up being, for your trivia fans, the very first mid-engine car ever produced. And it's just absolutely beautiful. JP, check out everything about it. It really is kind of like ground zero for the supercar movement. This was a car that was just so otherworldly, so beautiful, so much performance, so expensive, and so rare. It really is the first supercar. And these cars bring crazy money in the secondary market. Our car is now a premium listing. It turns out, when I say rare, they built about 700 Miuras between 1966 and 1973. And just 338 of those are the S variant, which was kind of a .2 if you were. I'm not exactly sure what makes it an S. I'm not an expert on the Miura, but these cars are just beautiful. Now, the livery on this car, that bright blue leather interior and sort of that acid green, they call it Verde Miura paint, for sure is going to be polarizing. But considering the rare shade movement of Ferrari and Porsche and Lamborghini these days, I wonder if the polarity will prevent it from being anything other than top dollar, because it's probably a one of one in this crazy colorway. JP, this car, if it looks familiar to you, it's because it sold in Monterey last year with Mecum for an astounding $1,980,000, including the buyer's premium. A car like this that comes back to market so quickly and without any perceptible, like they didn't overhaul the gearbox or find the original engine or anything. Not that it needed any of those things, but I'm saying unless you do something significant to the car to improve it, like the quality or the collectability of the car, I don't know how you can bring it right back to market in less than 1 year. And in this case, almost less than 6 months, and expect to duplicate the result that you just did. I'm taking nothing away from the fine folks at Silver Arrows Cars Limited and their much far superior studio photography than the way the car was presented at Mecum just last summer. But that's an outstanding result at $1,980,000. And I just don't know why Silver Arrows Cars thinks they're going to do better, or if the owner is already willing to take, let's say 1.5 or 1.7, and they think, okay, cool, well, we can cover you there. Let's get it to market, and we'll get you your money out of it. I just don't think this car has a chance of doing better because it's come back to market too soon after a very public and very retail result. So, JP, I present to you the most beautiful car ever made, the Lamborghini Miura P400S in Seattle Seahawks colors. But again, two bites of the same apple in less than half a year. Where are you at on this cool car, but two showings, I think, too soon to one another? Where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll talk about that, whether or not it's too soon when we get to numbers. But I just want to say that this listing could be a case study on how to sell $1 million plus car. We talk about assets all the time, photos, video, the way the car is described. This car doesn't have great photos. It has super professional photos. This is the way you present something like this, right? I mean, this is flawless execution. It also comes with multiple videos. I mean, there aren't just one video about this car. There are, I think, 4 or 5 separate driving videos, and they're all like, they're not slick. They're very authentic. You can tell you can see everything that you want to see, the dash and the shifter and the steering wheel and the road, and you can hear everything. They're just very well done basic driving videos. But then there are 2 separate hero films about the car. Both are narrated by a gentleman. He's probably someone famous in this world. Maybe you guys can look at it and tell me who he is. But he kind of exudes he's the kind of guy that knows what he's talking about. He's a bit boomerish in his sensibilities, but that's okay. This car is definitely going to go to someone who has real money, and that guy talks he speaks to that person. This isn't the car necessarily for the crypto bros or, some tech kid that just wants a loud Ferrari to go down to, Cannery Row and hit the rev limiter. This is for the real collector. This car, we say it all the time. If you're going to sell something special, make it look special. These sellers really did the job well. What do we think it's going to bring, Deep?
All right, JP, our car is currently sitting at $1,113,000 even. And this premium listing, which is probably run for 9 or 10 days, is going to close tomorrow, Monday. And early, I think. This is going to be, 10:30 a.m. close. We've already got 17 bids, JP, so there's good action on the car. And again, the car is highly collectible. It's entirely possible that my whole diatribe on it selling just last year won't matter because, again, it's like, all right, well, I'm going to pass on this acid green blue Lamborghini Miura and I'll just wait for the next one. That car's never coming, So, JP, our friends at classic.com have a great column for the Lamborghini Miura, and they say on average, a Miura S is a $2.2 million car. This car brought basically $2 million, including the buyer's premium, just last summer coming all in at $1,980,000. So we were 20 grand away from $2 million. JP, I do think the car is going to do well, but I don't think it'll trump the previous result. I think that number that's public puts that glass ceiling in place, and most astute buyers are like, well, I'm not going to give him more money than he paid for it. I didn't need him to go get it for me, So I don't know why that is. It's hard for me to describe that in the moment, but I'm going to come in at $1,800,000. And I feel like if the guy is smart and as rich as we all think he is, he can afford to take that $180,000 bath and let this car go. If he really wanted to make money on it, he was going to have to keep it a little longer than 6 or 7 months. So my bid, JP, is 1.8. And it's at 1.1 right now. We close tomorrow, JP. What do you think about the Seahawks Miura S?
Yeah, I mean, one of the players needs to buy this thing, especially if
Marshawn
they win the Super Bowl. Yeah, he's a big Lamborghini guy, right?
Yeah, he is.
But he identifies as a Raider. What are you talking about? He doesn't. Look, this is easily going to break $2 million. Your analysis that's saying, okay, this thing sold for whatever just 6 months ago. 6 months ago may as well have been 6 years ago. 6 months ago, how much was an ounce of gold? 6 months ago, an ounce of gold was about $2,200. I don't know. I'm pulling that off the top of my head, but it wasn't almost $5,000 like it is today. People are looking. This big money is looking for places to put their money, and this is the kind of thing that they're going to buy. There's no way this thing doesn't break $2 million. I'll play it safe and go $2.1 million, and say it wouldn't surprise me if this thing did 3, Deeb. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
I mean,
it might.
Look, did you see the numbers that Lucas sent us, our intern?
Give them to me.
So a 62 Ferrari 250 GTO. That's one of the most expensive cars in the world, right? Yeah. $38 million. Isn't that? I thought that was like a $17 million car. But
no, that's a $50 or $60 million car. That car weirdly went cheap, but all the other stuff, the Enzos and the F50s all went for 10, 11, 12 million.
Yeah, what's an Enzo usually go for? Because one just went for 17.
Yeah, they're supposed to go for $3 million, but this one was yellow and it went for like 17, which is bananas.
17 and a half, yeah, or almost 18. A 95 F50 for $12 million, $12.2 million.
That was a $5 million car.
LaFerrari. What are those going for?
$4 million.
$11 million. Another 215. Okay, there was a 2000. So there's a 2017 Aperta. I don't know how to pronounce that. That's the $11 million one, and then a 2015 went for 6.7. So I mean, I think people are they're just spending the money. It's
crazy.
So crazy. It's so crazy.
It is absolutely crazy.
All right. Let us know what you guys think of this beautiful Miura. Are you a Seahawks fan? Are you going to buy it and drive the winning Super Bowl Seahawks parade with Marshawn Lynch? Are you going to let him drive it? Let us know in the comments and stuff like that. And let's move on. We got a bunch of other cars to go over. Are we experiencing prices that make COVID look like the good old days? What's the next car on the list?
All right, JP. This car, I selected as a preview of the year that we are about to have. I am now working with a client who is going to be sourcing cars from Japan, and I have initially a really cute Suzuki Jimmy right-hand drive, looks like a Suzuki Samurai that was left in the dryer too long. That car is going to run here probably in a couple of weeks, and that'll go no reserve. But I've got two R33 Skylines coming to the marketplace that are really nice cars. So I thought it'd be fun to take our first sort of deep dive on a right-hand drive JDM 1999 Nissan Skyline GTR V-Spec. Now, this car is an R34 JP, but this is a V-Spec car, which makes it a little more special. Now, I am not fluent in Skyline. I've got a lot to learn. So we're gonna learn by just taking a look at this car here. Now, this car was brought in from Japan just last year, late in 2025. The car is currently showing 67,000 kilometers, which is about 42,000 miles. But many of the things on this car have been changed. It is accompanied by something similar to a Japanese Carfax report, and it shows that this car had a pretty significant front end collision. Upon rebuilding this car, it got some aftermarket pieces. So now we have aftermarket exhaust and wheels, and strut tower braces, and big fancy radiators. This car's got a tune. It's got a different instrument cluster. It comes back and forth, JP, this argument that you and I perfectly go back and forth on Ferraris and Porsches. You always saying the young guys that are buying these cars now don't care. They love the mods. And I keep saying still the most money is in the originality of the car. Here we have a very desirable, very iconic, because this is very similar to the Paul Walker Skyline that he drove in the Fast and the Furious, especially in this crazy colorway of Bayside blue paint. But this winds up being, somewhat polarizing, and these are like $200,000 cars. Will the mods enhance that, help it, or hurt it in any shape or form? The car is running no reserve. We're already up to a pretty respectable number, and the car closes tomorrow. But man, look at this, JP. This is, for the certain segment of the car community, this is one of the holy grail sitting there. A V-Spec with some fat mods in the iconic blue Paul Walker Fast and the Furious paint, and it's already here on a Washington State title. JP, I know you and I both say over and over again, right-hand drive is the kiss of death. But the folks who really, really love the JDM stuff, if ever there was somebody who wouldn't mind the right-hand drive and still pay close to a premium to have a special car, it's going to be in this segment right here. So let's put aside that argument, because we know that the buyer for this car doesn't care about right-hand drive. A Porsche or Ferrari guy would not want a right-hand drive because they can get any car they really want in the correct steering wheel position. But if you want a Skyline, you're going to have to learn to shift with your left hand. So what do you think? Any love for this, essentially Porsche turbo competitor from Japan? Godzilla is in Washington. What are we going to do about it?
Yeah, typically I think the right-hand drive is definitely a problem, but in this particular car, that's the only way they came. A lot of times when we're talking about right-hand drive cars, it's usually a right-hand drive version of the car. We'll see an NSX or an Integra or something like that, and it'd be like, oh, this would be so awesome if it were left-hand drive. But this is the only way you can get one of these, and they're all $200,000. I was noticing a couple of odd specks of rust around the license plate and the lights, and so that's why I'm kind of skipped ahead to the photos underneath. It seems to be pretty much corrosion free, but what a weird detail to miss. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Is this factory, you guys? And maybe some of you JDM guys can tell, but this kind of like white overspray we got going on this cross member underneath the car, is that supposed to be like that, or is that is that something? Does that come from? Is that something from the accident that happened at some point? I don't know. Could definitely use the nerd herd's help on this car. I don't particularly like these, but that doesn't mean they're not awesome and then they're not worth a lot. It's just not my cup of tea, and I don't like right-hand drive cars because I am dyslexic. What do we think this car is going to bring?
Yeah, so JP, the client of mine that's going to be bringing these Japanese cars in sent me this listing, Josh. And Josh said that he was surprised that this car was doing as well as it was, and that in the comments section that people were fawning over it because he found this car to be particularly rough. And again, these are iconic cars and people love them. This one's got a lot of mods, but it's got some accident history. It's not a perfect car despite the low mileage and the fancy blue paint. They are, however, running at no reserve. JP, our friends at classic.com remind us that the Skyline GTR V-Spec, the R34 V-Spec, typically bring $218,000 in the secondary market. If it wasn't V-Spec, if it was just a regular R34, it's about $131,000, or about $90,000 less if it's just an R34. But the V-Spec winds up being $100,000 premium over that. So 218 is the target on average for a car like this. They're running at no reserve, and it's currently sitting at $131,000, and that comes to us by way of 12 bids. JP, because the car had the accident, because it's got the mods, and it's just not like as perfect a car as you would imagine for the low odometer. I think this car has a chance to get to 160 grand, and of course, running no reserve, it's going to sell for that number, and I think that's a fair value for what you get. The question is, JP, are you going to go over or under 160 grand? We're at 131, and it closes tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a good bid. This car, we were talking about cars being iconic earlier in the show. The Lamborghini Jalpa, the GT4 Dino Ferrari, those are great cars that aren't iconic, that never reach that status. This particular car, but those cars that I was just talking about are great, amazing cars. This particular car did reach iconic status, but I just don't think they're that great. I mean, I think they're good, whatever, but it just feels like, the way the interior is on this thing, it just screams, S14 Nissan, that you get at the pot lot down the street. It's just all beat up. I don't want to spend any time in there. But again, maybe that's because it's not iconic to me or my generation. I think this is a hardcore millennial car. If Fast and the Furious was in the movie theaters when you were in high school, you want this. If Fast and the Furious was out when you were an adult and you thought that shit was just Pokemon for car people, you're like, you just couldn't care less. But all right, so what do we think? You're looking for a number from me. I'm going under. I'm going 155. And say it sells. I think your bid was really good, and I think it's a toss-up on this one. Will someone pony up for an iconic car that's a little beat up?
And here's where I'll finish with that, JP. If this thing winds up selling for more than you and me, so you're at 155, I'm at 160. If this goes for 165, 175, God forbid 180, I'm going to say somebody overpaid for it. Then the people that bid them up there were also out of their mind. I think for that kind of money, you could get a nicer Skyline. This one's got some mods and it'd be a great driver, but this is not a great car, certainly not for that kind of money. I think you could do better. And I'm hoping that I can prove that with some of the cars that we'll have coming throughout the year. Some really fun stuff. So keep an eye on what we're listing. It'll be a lot of fun to learn to speak a little Japanese. All right, JP.
Arigato. All right, let's. We got to move on. Let's go. We're darn near speed round time. No, we still got time. Let's go.
I know how much you love an SC, so I picked for you this 1978 Porsche 911 SC. But you say, Deeb, wait, that's an M505. It's not. This is a slant-nose conversion. And then, JP, somebody shoehorned a built 3.3 liter turbocharged motor under the back of this thing. JP, there are horsepower, what do you call it? Dyno sheets. This thing makes 370 horsepower and 360 pound-foot of torque to the tires. This thing absolutely rips. I love this car for you, JP, because it's going to be inexpensive, not expensive, but inexpensive. A complete Frankenstein hot rod of a car. I love everything about it, including and especially the price. If Porsche does wind up making a 992.2 slant nose, you're going to be happy you bought this car because it'll probably double in value overnight. Listed out of Scottsdale, Arizona, showing 19,000 miles, true mileage unknown. It's still got a 915. It still has a 5-speed transmission, but now you've got turbo and a built turbo at that with 100 horsepower more than a stock one would have, all the fun of a slant nose without M505 prices. Just repeat after me. I like metallic red and tan. And if you get through those words, this is your car. So, JP, I hand over to you a car I figured you'd absolutely love because I bet you this thing goes for under 80 grand. Where are you at on 400 horsepower slant nose SC? What do you think?
Yeah, I might have something like this in my future. Not this particular one, but these crazy turbo builds that are done, by aftermarket builders, from an era or two ago. I've got some experience around these kind of, secondhand. Our good friend Rami has a garage full of this kind of crap. Out
of Japan,
no less, right? Yeah. The roof and the 934 and his 964 turbo. And, don't get me wrong, they are awesome cars. They're fantastic while it works. But these builds were built, these parts they're bespoke, right? They're individually built bespoke parts, wastegates that were, milled specifically for this car. There's a myriad of components, of criticality one parts that if they fail will result in a loss of vehicle, crew, or both, as they say in NASA when a gasket goes in a Challenger. It's one little thing goes wrong and you can't just get on to Pelican Parts and say, hey, I need that wastegate that was custom made by someone 15 years ago. Everyone's going to be like, sorry, you're going to have to go to a fabricator to either rebuild that, or you wind up having a cascading effect where, okay, now I got to change the downpipe. I got to change all this crap with factory stuff to try to get it to match up. And it's like unraveling a hornet's nest. It just doesn't. It can be really, really hard to keep stuff like this on the road and keep it going. It's great while it works. I do love this car. I do appreciate people going nuts like this, but I think you're better off with an LS swap than you are swapping a turbo and building the if out of it and putting it in the back of something like this, because God knows what anyone was thinking, and it's going to be really hard to decipher later. What do we think this is going to go for?
JP, you can take the fun out of everything.
Oh, man, I know. I'm such a pessimist, right? I love this car, dude. I'm just trying to talk it down so I can get a chance to buy it. I want this car.
I was hoping you'd pat me on the head and say, good job, Deeb. You picked a good one. Instead, you're like, you're an idiot. You should put an LS in that thing. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can't win for losing. Oh, brother. God, Rochelle.
How much am I going to have to pay for it? Stop. How much is this thing?
All right, JP. Our car is currently sitting at $39,000. JP, I think this car is going to get to, God, I put a price and I'm not comfortable with it. I'm going to go, you just soured me on everything. I'm going to go $75,000 and say that it effectively doubles in price. So 75 grand, JP. And I think that should get it done, but I'm not 100% sure. Who knows? JP, 75 grand.
I mean, anything that's shaped like a coupe is going to bring $80,000. It doesn't matter what engine's in it. If it could be an LS3, it could be a turbo,
great photographs.
Whatever. What's with the black flag mirrors? Like literally flag mirrors, and they're black. That's just a very odd choice there. Some weird style choices on this car. Some things could really make it look better. Some different seats and a steering wheel and blah, 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 but whatever. I'll go 79,911 and say I think it's going to break 80. But if it goes for under 70, that is the bargain of the week. That's for sure.
Give me your bid again, because I didn't hear it.
79,911.
All right, there you go. It goes over me after all that shit talking. Mm-hmm. Okay, you got time for another one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, JP, there is maybe not an AMG hammer, but an AMG thumbtack. Check it out, this 1991 Mercedes-Benz 300E. That is a pre-merger 3.4 AMG with a 5-speed manual. So you got an AMG body kit, you got AMG monoblock wheels, and you got a built 3.4 liter. Don't get too excited. It only makes about 200 and what was the numbers? It's really low, JP. 276 horsepower. So it's about the same as a C36. but it's before the C36. So we have a 3.4 liter inline six that makes 276 horsepower and 243 pound-foot of torque. Now, it's not a lot, but I bet you it's still a lot of fun. And the car looks gorgeous. It really does look like an AMG Hammer, and it's an authentic AMG car. These pre-merger cars are highly collectible, but this one's kind of like the entry level of all that cool AMG custom stuff. JP, I really dig this car and figured you would too. It looks very handsome in its black colorway, and I love those plaid interior seats. The plaid seats it definitely didn't come with. I'm sure somebody has restoed that interior. Your thoughts on the AMG with the 3.4?
I don't know what AMG stands for, but we met the M at the Las Vegas Concours here a few months ago when I was hanging out there with Rami, and they're introducing a new car that looks like it's like a 190 Cosworth style or Evo, and that thing's like $600,000. This style is hot. This era of Mercedes, the fact that this is a manual, all the things, it's collectible. Oh boy, this thing I'm really curious to see where this goes. What do you think? What's the number is going to be?
All right, JP. So with 3 days still to go, this is going to close on Wednesday before we do the next show. Our car is already sitting at $55,555 on a whopping 22 bids. So like I said, JP, all that pre-merger stuff is really hot. JP, our friends at classic.com have a AMG W124 platform number, and its number is really low. It's only $51,000. And that includes all your 300Es and wagons and all your 500E cars that came from AMG. I'm shocked that number is low because the car is already at $55,555. I think it's going to effectively double. I'm going to say that this car brings $100,000 just because they're hot. And like you said, even AMG is starting to do a singer revolution to W201 platform cars, the 190, which is a legend in its own right, but smaller than this. This car's got a lot of curb appeal, and they're basically bulletproof. I think that's a lot of fun for the money.
I think this thing's going to soar past that number. The one thing about this generation of car, even the Hammers and stuff like that, most of them are automatics, right? I mean, the fact that this one has 3 pedals, if we see a typical E-Gear Miura, or not Miura, but Murcielago going for $300,000 and a 3-pedal version goes for $1 million or darn near, I don't see why this car doesn't go triple the value of a normal one. So I'm going to say $150,000 for this car. And I would not be shocked if it goes even past that. Even though that engine's not that hot, it's torquey and it's got 3 pedals, man.
That's the same gearbox that's in the 190 Cosworth cars. That's the Getrag dogleg 5-speed transmission. It's a great box. Absolutely great box.
Yeah, and what are those going for?
And those cars have 110 horsepower less than this car. So this is a lot of fun and a lot of eyeball for the money. JP, your bid could be right on the money. This will be fun to watch.
Awesome. Let us know what you guys think. All right. You want to do now? Let's skip that last car. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us on another Bid Nerds. It was fun to do a live show with just my partner and I without guests. I do believe we have a guest coming up on Wednesday, probably some big deal, someone more important than us. So tune in to find out who that's going to be. We don't know exactly off the top of my head, but our intern is always doing it, getting it done. And I don't know if they've sold out of spots at Idaho Air. I think if they have any left, it's probably less than 10. It might be single digit at this point. So if you're planning on going to Idaho Air and bringing your car, you better get a spot for it. Quite honestly, Deeb, a bunch of us are probably going to be driving up from Las Vegas, and we're probably parking in the parking lot because we didn't get spots. I don't even know what car I have. It is whatever. We're just going to be game timing decision. I think the parking lot, this is going to be one of the situations where the adjacent show is going to be the one right next to the actual show, just like Luftkult winds up being. Anything else you want to plug?
No, that's good for now. I do have my 996 Turbo on Bring a Trailer. If you find some time, jump on there and take a look at it. Throw it a like or a watch or a comment or say something fun, and then we will cover that car on Wednesday night show before my car hammers Thursday morning. So any bid nerd love for my 996 Turbo would be much appreciated. There it is, JP. Thank you. Kev, the photographer, the guy who shoots all my cars, shoots for OTS, which is in the East Bay, and he also shoots for Fantasy Junction. At the end of the year, Bring a Trailer always has the best photo shoot of the year. And Kevin's Maserati that he shot, Maserati 300S Le Mans car that he shot for Fantasy Junction, was up for photo bucket of the year. And the bidding or the contest ended last Thursday night at midnight. Fantasy Junction's Maserati won, meaning Kevin, the guy who shoots my car, out of 49,000 listings in 2025, Kevin's photographs on the Maserati were voted the best photos of the year. So how do you like that? We're working with an award-winning photographer. I'm sure my rates are about to double. So this is the beginning and the end of my celebration and praise for Kev, the photographer. But outstanding job to Kev. I'm super proud of him. He works his butt off. He does a really great job. And so I couldn't be happier for the guys. So big shout out to Kev, the photographer. Way to go. And Fantasy Junction, but Kev did all the work. We know who deserves the trophy.
Nice. All right, guys, I will be up. We were talking about Idaho. I'll actually be up in Idaho. Maybe Deeb will join me. At the end of the month, we're going to be doing an event with Anthony over at Our Smiths and their PCA up there. He'll send us a link if to sign up for that if you want to come to that. I don't know if there's spots open or not like that, but check back on the next episode.
They sell tickets, and it's a pretty cool whole weekend. Yeah, it's really good.
Okay, we'll get a link on that for the next episode, and we'll start plugging that. But all right, guys, that's the show. We'll see you Wednesday. Bye.